Fairbanks Focus Alaska View is brought to you by the University of Alaska Fairbanks, Alaska's first university, and the Fairbanks Economic Development Corporation, bringing economic development to interior Alaska.
Thanks again for joining us on Fairbanks Focus Alaska View. I'm Nanette, and today I'm joined again by Jim Dodson. And Jim, we were talking last week a little bit about the energy here in Fairbanks and some of the challenges that we face and the costs of energy. And we wanted to talk a little bit more with you about what that looks like and some of the different projects that might be going on in Alaska to help combat that.
Thanks, Nanette. It's great to be back. Actually, Steve Hageson joined me last week, and we talked about what energy is costing the Fairbanks community, and 85% of our community is heated by diesel fuel today, which is costing us about $30 a million BTU. And really, from a financial standpoint, from its impact on the economy, that's not sustainable. Over the years in Alaska, a number of energy projects have popped up. As far back as when we built the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, it was talked that the next project would be a gas line, and of course there's no gas line today. Governor Murkowski, when he was in office, worked with producers to try to develop a gas line. Governor Palin put in the project that she called the Aegea line, contracting with TransCanada to build a major line. TransCanada ultimately partnered with Exxon and moved forward through the project. That's been ongoing, now for a number of years, and still nothing has happened with the Aegea line. They announced last week that the project now probably would be more feasible if they built it to Tidewater in Alaska rather than down to a major market like Henry Hub or ACO Hub. Interestingly enough, that project that when it was to be built all the way through Canada down to the lower 48, they were talking about $30 billion today. They're saying it's going to be 45 to 65 billion to build it. Build it to Tidewater. Those numbers are kind of hard to understand, and I think from not actually knowing what the producers are going to do, but I believe that we won't find much interest from the producers to build a $45 to $65 billion pipeline to Tidewater. We also had, kind of at the same time, Conoco, Phillips, and BP Alaska put together what they called the Denali Line project. They were talking about building a similar line to that TransCanada was looking at, build it down to one of the major hubs. And they, about a year ago, put that project on hold, said that at the time, at the current cost of natural gas in the lower 48, which is significantly less than it has been in the last several years because of all the shale gas.
Which is part of the reason our costs are so much greater than the rest of the state, or the rest of the country, really, because they're all getting natural gas and we're not still.
We're definitely not getting natural gas. They have, Fairbanks, doesn't have gas, a significant supply of gas either from Cook Inlet or from the North Slope. The Cook Inlet gas coming in today is actually less than a BCF, less than 1,100 customers out of a potential of 28,000 customers are serviced by natural gas today in Fairbanks, and that price is about $24 a million BTU compared to Anchorage's price of about $11 a million BTU. But when you finish walking through the projects, you got the Denali Line, and then the legislature 2 years ago passed some legislation that asked Alaska Housing Finance to put on the Alaska standalone gas line. That's been in the works. Last year, the legislature didn't continue funding that project, and that project seems to be bogged down. So, today, from where the Fairbanks community is and looking at possible solutions, Golden Valley, Fairbanks Natural Gas, Flint Hills Resources, and now, as of last night, the community gas utility was approved by the Fairbanks North Star Borough. So the borough now has utility authorities. So those entities hopefully are going to come together and create a truck supply of gas from the North Slope to Fairbanks and build out the Fairbanks distribution system.
And that includes North Pole too, right?
That absolutely includes North Pole. The way the project really started forming was last year at the request of the Fairbanks North Star Borough Mayor, Mayor Hopkins. At Fairbanks Economic Development, we wrote an RFP to a number of contractors, asked them to look at the Fairbanks market for distribution, for gas distribution. That study was complete in June, and basically what it showed is that we could reach 22,000 out of 26,000 potential customers with piped natural gas, or 86% of our community. So, from that report, we established a goal to bring truck natural gas to Fairbanks, deliver it to the customer for $15 a million BTU, to do it in the shortest possible time, and of course, reach as many people as we could. And that goal has been passed on to the community utility. It has that in its charter. It has it in the ordinance that was created to reach the most Fairbanks residents in the shortest period of time with affordable natural gas. So, in a sense, it's kind of exciting. It's certainly an opportunity. We now need to get good people appointed to that utility and take advantage of that opportunity. But, I'm excited about it.
I'm excited too. I'm excited about the possibility of lowering the energy costs, because I know it really sets up a barrier for new businesses coming here. The cost of energy and the cost of just being able to sustain.
Yeah, actually, that's a great point. In that, over the last several weeks, as I've listened to testimony in front of the North Pole City Council, the Fairbanks City Council, and then again last night in front of the Fairbanks North Star Borough Assembly, there has been multiple people testifying that this economy is not sustainable, that their neighbors are leaving. There was a realtor that testified last night to the Borough Assembly that talked about out of 20 houses that were listed last week in the Fairbanks market, 8 of those were in foreclosure. So you can kind of understand that we live in an economy that our cost of living is high, that our per capita income is low, and the disposable income that we have in the middle really isn't that great anymore. And to take and change the economy from an oil-based economy to a natural gas-based economy, where we're actually saving a couple $100 million a year to the community residents, and it'll equate to disposable income, make a huge positive impact if we can get it accomplished. Obviously we have to have good people appointed to that board, and we just have to roll up our sleeves and get to work.
No, absolutely, and I think that the people who stay here in Fairbanks want that a great deal, and I think that we, as people of the community, watch as different stores that we've seen for the last 20 years have been closing up shop, and moving out because it is so hard to sustain. And I really am excited about the natural gas program, and look forward to it. What else can you tell us about Fairbanks and the energy that we're working on bringing here, as far as the initiative that was passed last night? What plans do they have working towards that?
Well, interestingly enough, the governor of the state of Alaska, Governor Parnell, wrote a letter to Fairbanks Economic Development, to Fairbanks Natural Gas, to Golden Valley, and to Flint Hills, and has asked for those 4 parties to come together and agree on a plan that might move this community's energy prospects forward, and kind of based around the utility, because I see the utility, not necessarily as an operating utility, but as a entity that can aggregate everybody's interests, that we can find commonalities in what everybody's trying to accomplish. Obviously, Golden Valley has that has tremendous fuel costs. 60% of their fuel cost for their generation of electricity is from crude oil, and Flint Hills that produces gasoline and diesel fuel here, operates their refinery with crude oil. Those are tremendously expensive. We all have the same interest. How do we get that cost of operation, not only to our homes, but to our businesses lower and become more successful? So if we can take those interests and aggregate them and find ways through economies of scale to bring cheaper energy to everybody, it makes everybody more successful.
Well, and I'm really excited to hear that there are so many entities working together on it. I think that when you have the whole community involved, everyone's more on board and it looks better to everybody. And I think it's more successful when everyone comes to the table and says, well, we need this and we need this as well. So yeah, that's really exciting.
Exciting stuff. Yeah, exciting stuff. Those people that are interested in this utility and interested in being a part of it, I encourage them to reach out to the mayors, because the first appointments to this board will be by the local mayors, North Pole Mayor, City Mayor, Fairbanks City Mayor, and Borough Mayor. And then after the initial appointments, they will be elected. But if you're interested, because like I said, this utility needs good people. It needs you.
Awesome. So they would just contact the mayor's office if they're interested, or FEDC, or who should they go through?
Well, I don't have any appointments, so don't call me, but but call Mayor Cleworth, call Mayor Isaacson, or call Mayor Hopkins.
Wonderful. And that, like I said, I think we're all really looking forward to lower energy costs and building the economy.
Absolutely. I looked at a project schedule yesterday, where if we start this year, and we can, if we get our act together and get working on it, we can have the project complete by the start of 2016. So, we have talked, when we initially started talking about this, we were talking about $15 an MCF gas in 5 years. We can meet both of those schedules. We can cut our energy cost in half, and we can get it totally accomplished in 5 years if we come together on a plan.
Well, I look forward to it. Like I said, I plan on being in Fairbanks for a long time, and I know you do as well. So
well, I've been here for a long time, and I plan to stay. But I really do hope that my children and my grandchildren can continue to enjoy Fairbanks and Alaska as I have in my lifetime.
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today. And is there anything else you'd like to let the viewers know about how to get involved? I mean, if they don't want to be part of the appointment, is there places they can go and make their voice heard?
Well, I think that as we move forward, as the four parties that the governor has asked to come together and meet with him on a potential solution, assuming they come up with a solution, certainly contact your local legislator, and they're all running for office, by the way, and they're all talking about energy as our number one issue. When they come to knocking on your door, and asking for your support, asking for your vote, find out what their position is on energy. Make sure that they're supporting your community, that they're supporting your cost of energy reduction. It's the right thing to do.
Well, wonderful. Well, thanks again for joining us here on Fairbanks Focus and Alaska View. We always appreciate your time and coming to talk to us. And again, get out there and vote. And thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Samantha Larson, and this is the Fairbanks Focus. Today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Jack Hebert, president of the Cold Climate Housing Research Center. Hi, Jack. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Samantha. Nice to be here.
Excuse me, Mr. Hebert, if you will.
Jack sounds good.
Okay,
Yeah,
Jack.
like
Whatever
best.
you're comfortable with.
Jack is good.
Okay. So, Jack, if you would, could you explain to us a little bit about what it is that you do with the Cold Climate Housing Research Center?
Well, I'm the president, so I guess I'm the boss.
Well, of course.
But the organization was founded a little over 10 years ago when I was president of the Alaska State Home Building Association, and because home building has been my career. Home builders statewide have been very frustrated that there was no applied research going on in our state, that we were borrowing technologies from elsewhere that sometimes worked and sometimes didn't. And what would be the best approach for us to build the best homes that we can for Alaskans? So the Housing Research Center was founded with that purpose in mind, and that's for all of Alaska from Ketchikan to Barrow. We've grown since then, and we've grown, I believe, because of the kind of talent that Alaska has. We've got, right at this point, over 30 Alaskans working there, and projects from out in Point Lay and the North Slope down into, again, to southeast and in the Alaska Peninsula. Purpose is to build a better home, a more affordable home, a home that works for the communities and the people that are in the areas that the houses are being built, that have healthy indoor environments, that are not only affordable to build, but also affordable to stay in. The energy costs being low, and good indoor air so that your health and your family's health is good.
I see. And that's obviously a very big thing as far as living goes in Fairbanks. I've only lived here going on 2 months now, but I've quickly learned that housing and prices and all of that is quite high, so I can see how that would greatly benefit everyone in the community. Now, it's my understanding that you have worked over the sustainable housing on the UAF campus. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, I can. One of the things that we like to do is to demonstrate what's possible, not just talk about it. So that's really, truly what applied research is. So in many cases, what we like to accomplish is to build a structure or build the technologies and test them. And we've done that all over the state. On campus at the University of Alaska, which is where we're located, is an ideal location to do that kind of demonstration project so that the people of Fairbanks and the people of the state can actually see what's possible, what we're advocating and what we're designing. So the Sustainable Village at UAF was an idea that we presented to the administration at the university, and it was basically, why not build a community here of student housing using a private sector template, meaning build these houses at a cost that they can be paid back by the students renting them.
Oh, okay.
So that an individual in the community could see, hey, this can work for me. I could build a house of this kind of size, incorporating these kind of technologies. I would be able to afford to build that house and would find remarkable performance on the energy side. So what we're doing is pushing the envelope. We want to take things right to the edge of what's possible. Some things will work, some things won't. But the Sustainable Village at the University of Alaska is, in our minds, an example of what can work here.
I see. So basically, not only is this sustainable housing on campus, does it benefit UAF students, but it's also benefiting those in the community as, would you say, kind of a learning experience, or basically a good example of how housing and homes can be restructured within the community?
Right, right. It's been said in a way that people like to kick the tires. They like to actually see where they're going.
Oh, absolutely.
Someone can explain to you, I'm going to build you a house that has all these things. One, if it's experimental technology, you want to make sure that it works. And the other is, what's it going to look like? What's it going to feel like? Is this going to be a real house? And so this is an example of that. Another really wonderful part of this project is that we have involved the students from the very beginning. They were involved in a design competition just over a year ago, where a winning team was selected from the design, and that team's ideas were incorporated in the architecture and the design that we ultimately built. So the students were embedded in it very, very early. The other wonderful thing is, of course, the students live there.
Mm-hmm.
So not only do they learn to live in a very energy efficient building, but they can also learn an energy efficient and sustainable lifestyle there. So there's a certain commitment that comes with living in these homes that makes these young people aware that these important tenets of sustainability can be a part of their everyday activities and their future,
right.
How they live when they are gone from the university.
Well, and I think it's great that students were able to contribute to the housing that they're now living in. You know, it's not just another dorm, it's something, hey, I contributed, I, helped make this happen, and now I get to enjoy it.
And it's a home.
Mm-hmm.
Very different than a dorm room. I think we're finding the students that are living there now, and they've been there over a month, the students that moved into these homes, they like being there. That's where they come to study. That's where they want to be because it feels like their home.
Well, and see, I think that's a big bonus as far as education goes. I know when I was a freshman in college in Colorado, my dorm room was probably the size of a closet. So I never wanted to be there. I always wanted to be in the library or Starbucks. So I think just the fact that the housing is structured in a way that it feels more home-like, I think really helps play into being able to study and focus, and just that home feeling makes you more comfortable. So let me ask you, Jack, as a UAF student, would it benefit me to live in the sustainable housing versus off campus in an apartment or a house with roommates?
Well, it'd be a very different experience. I think that the Sustainable Village is a place for students who are interested in learning how to live more sustainably, are interested in the systems and how the buildings work. Mm-hmm. You're basically becoming an involved homeowner. It's not like just renting a place in Fairbanks where your landlord takes care of things and you just don't worry about it. Water use, for instance, is something that the students are monitoring. Energy use is something the students are monitoring. So they think about the fact that if I leave that big screen TV on, what's it going to be costing this house and how much energy will be used? So it becomes a lifestyle in a way for the students that live there.
I think that's great. I think that's a great experience to have and to learn. I would say most young people, including myself, typically we don't really think about our energy use and leaving a light on and, well, I'll leave the TV on while I'm gone, it's no big deal. But I think being in an environment where you do consider those things betters you for the future, and managing your costs and energy, and I'm sure that helps out quite a bit as far as bills go. I know myself, being a college student, I'm trying to save every penny I can, so that's great. As an overall with this project, how do you see it benefiting the school in 10 to 20 years?
Well, we want it to be a dynamic project, meaning it's a multi-year effort. These are the first 4 homes in what we think will become a number of homes related to the Sustainable Village. In our initial concept, we were looking at building 4 homes a year over the next 10 years. And that's not just building the homes, it's how they're placed on the property, the building science that's involved in how they're built, and also the learning experience from one year to the next. So what we learn with this first iteration, these first 4 homes, can be applied to the next 4 homes and the next 4 homes.
I see.
It's also a sense of community, which is what we have here in Fairbanks.
Oh, absolutely.
You know your neighbors, you work with your neighbors. There will very likely be a small community building involved in this. That may be the place where students do laundry. Something similar to what we have in rural Alaska that are washaterias or small community buildings. Again, we want it to be an example of energy efficiency and what's possible in building and energy consumption. Also may very well be gardens, so that food becomes an element of that.
Oh, I see. Okay, well, I hate to cut this short, Jack, but I think we're about done on time today. I'd like to say that as far as this energy goes, last week's show and today's show, I'm really looking forward to learning as much as I can and getting involved on campus and off campus and seeing what I can contribute, as well as getting other UAF students to contribute to this energy plan. I think it's going to do wonderful things for campus, for students, community, and all of our neighbors. Thank you for coming in today, Jack. I really appreciate it.
Well, you're very welcome.
I will have to come by the Cold Climate Housing Research Center and take a tour sometime.
Well, everyone in the community, of course, is invited. And we work for all of you to try to make a better home.
Well, we all want it, we need it, and I think it'll make Fairbanks a better place. That's going to about do it for us today here on the Fairbanks Focus. I'm Samantha Larson. Have a good one.